I'm going to call this meeting to order. And the only addition is, under other business, we're going to have an Act 69 update. And with that, we have the minutes of our November 8th meeting. What would you like to do?
I'd move approval of the minutes of November 8th.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
I'm going to abstain because I was absent.
Okay. Okay, the ayes have it. Moving on. We don't have, we're meeting a couple days earlier than usual, so we don't have warrant 11 ready yet. We have the payroll, 11P, we have the capital fund, number 3, and we have a rec board, number 4.
So I'll move that we approve the warrants 11P, capital fund number 3, and the rec board number 4.
I'd second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. What would you like to do regarding warrant 11?
So I move that we would authorize the select board chair to sign warrant 11.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. So when it's ready, and it's going to be ready tomorrow, I'd come in and sign it so those bills could get paid, and then we'll have it on our next agenda to ratify.
Sounds good.
Okay? So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have no visitors. We have no road foreman to give us a report this evening. Is there anything under correspondence for information you'd like to discuss?
Well, I would just like to note the favorable decision on the West River Trail access. And I think that a lot of people were involved in that, and the public's continued access to that very popular trail is a very appropriate decision on the part of the court.
Do we know, or did the barriers and things get moved out of the Rice Farm area?
I
Do we
don't know that.
So, okay. Have you, yeah,
I think there was something about an injunction, should they reappear, or I think that was part of the decision.
I'll take a ride by there tomorrow. Just take a look, just for that good.
Anything else?
Well, do we need to, is there anything about the Seveds? They're going to
I
do a
don't
petition?
think they, let's see, they've sent us a letter. They sent us, that was pretty much just a letter to let us know that they're intending to take out a petition to be on one of the articles on the town meeting
Okay.
warning.
Okay.
So nothing we have to do. If during our budget work sessions, we decide that, we'll go ahead and put them on ourselves, then we can do that.
We can
But
let them know.
In the meantime, we won't get that far down that road for a little while.
Okay.
There's nothing under correspondence for discussion and or action, which brings us to new business. And Charlotte Annis, our treasurer, asked us to approve adding a repurchase agreement to the capital fund and possibly the Miller Fund. Do you want to give us a rundown on what a repurchase agreement is?
I understand a repurchase agreement effectively provides collateral for deposits with banks, for instance. And typically, banks pledge investment securities such as Treasury, U.S. Treasury obligations as collateral, for the repayment of those deposits in the unlikely event of the default of the bank itself.
And so FDIC insures accounts up to $100,000. And
Or
so these are,
250,000, I believe, is the limit currently.
all right.
And this would cover, and that's interesting why this came up as an issue. Because, for instance, the Miller Fund, I think, is just over $100,000. And I believe, isn't that your understanding, Maria, that FDIC limit is now $250,000.
I thought it was 100,000,
Yeah, I thought the little sign next to the
Okay.
teller says 100,000.
Okay, but, and maybe it was, you know, it was raised, you know, after the last, you know, financial collapse, and maybe it went back down. I just don't know without looking into it. But I guess we've been approached by Citizens Bank because the amount of the deposits of both the Miller Fund and the Capital Fund exceed the amount of the FDIC insurance.
Right, so I think it's Merchants Bank, isn't it? Or is,
Well,
have
they changed.
Oh, I
It's
can't
now-
keep track.
Now Citizens Bank, I believe it is.
Okay.
Or is it, we should get that right, is it?
What is it? Let's see.
I think it's not Citizens, is it Community Banker?
Okay, here it is. Community Bank.
Yes.
All right.
What's,
It's
They
what,
took over Merchants?
the one on Main Street, across from
Yes.
Brown and Roberts?
Yes.
so if they approached Charlotte to alert her to this, maybe, you know, we have more than 100,000 in the capital fund. It's closer to 3. So, and we might want to hold off on the Miller Fund to see what we do later in the agenda. But what would you like to do with this?
I guess I would move approval of the master repurchase agreement with Community Bank.
For both funds?
No, for the Capital Fund.
I would second that.
Okay, discussion?
So the only thing we do, there's no additional cost, we identified that,
Right.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the fund actually gets a little bit more interest, is what Charlotte's told me.
so are we authorizing Charlotte to sign those?
Yes. Yep. Okay, any discussion, any more discussion? This is for the capital fund. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We'll let, I can let Charlotte know this in the morning when I go to sign the warrants. And let's put the Miller Fund on hold just until later in our discussion. That brings us to health insurance plans and an update. So, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so Zeke and I met with the town employees, Lori and the road crew, and it's time to renew our health insurance plan, and everybody's pretty happy with what we have, what they have, and familiar with the way it all works. Pam was there also, as the person who processes and administrates the health insurance activity that happens. And we had pretty much decided to just renew the Blue Cross Blue Shield. There is an 11% increase in the premium. We'd like to do a little bit more due diligence in terms of comparing it with the MVP, where the premium is a little bit lower. So we're going to take one more pass at looking at the MVP providers with the road crew and Lori to see if their primary care physicians are also in the MVP network, and that might make a difference. The MVP premium is, it's a bit less significant enough that we should look into it. So anything else, Zeke?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
How's that sit with everyone?
I mean, I think that the town employees think that this will be a surprise to them that we're looking at this again, because we kind of talked about it as a decision, but it was we neglected to do that review of the MVP providers, which we had,
Right, we made it clear that we weren't making a decision.
right, that we
it
had
was
to
the-
bring it here.
The board would make the decision.
Yeah.
but-
And we're not ready to make the decision yet. But the decision has to be made by December 1st, so we're on a pretty tight timeline.
So I'll take that list of providers around tomorrow. I'll try to get that,
Because we don't have another meeting until the 6th.
right. And I guess there's some leeway. December 1st is the re-enrollment date, but you have until December 31st to make changes.
Good, okay,
So
good.
it's not cast in stone. Let's see. We received a request. Oh, anything else on healthcare? Okay. We received a request from Dummerston Cares, Bill Schmidt, for a link on the town website. And apparently there already is a link. Our webmaster, Kevin Ryan, has already put a couple of service organizations on. There's a link now where you can go on the town website and scroll down. And he has Dummerston Cares. There's the West Dummerston Volunteer Fire Department. What else is there? Two others. So,
That's great. I
Yeah.
think that's a good idea.
yeah.
And this would be a good time to ask, Maria, are you now listed as a member of the select board on our website?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And,
I don't think I've been getting any emails out.
Okay, they've got you. When I was scrolling down to find this, I found your
Okay,
name there. So,
okay.
okay, but we should address why you're not getting emails.
yeah. Have you been getting emails?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
we should talk to Lori.
Yeah, to talk to Kevin. Yeah,
Oh, talk to Kevin.
I'll speak to Lori
Okay,
to talk to Kevin,
okay,
and I'll do that tomorrow,
okay.
Great.
Good.
or I'll email her tonight.
Sounds good.
Take care of it.
How about with the VLCT, which is your name with them yet? So like when you call or email, they know that you're on the
Oh,
select board?
Yeah, I'll speak
on that
to.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Any junk emails we get that we want to have her included
Oh
on?
my, I've been getting a lot.
That's okay, I get plenty of those.
I've been getting a lot.
Wow, I just-
Select board, cookout,
Oh.
select board,
It's kind of
real,
destroyed that
real,
account.
real garbage.
Huh.
Yeah, commercial stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to unfinished business and our perennial unfinished business, the Miller Fund. At our last meeting, we discussed the possibility of investing a portion of that, about 100,000 that's in that account. And I think we wanted the full board to be involved in this and have a little time to think about what amount might be a good amount to, or an amount that we could all agree on.
The total fund is,
Essentially $100,000.
and so investing a portion of it would be half of it, or what?
Well, I guess, whatever amount you're comfortable with, you all know how I feel. I mean, it's two issues, one, producing, more income. Secondly, long-term growth. And I have suggested that be done through, the Vanguard, Index 500 stock fund. And, I had suggested 70%, but there was some resistance, on the part of the board, feeling in part that, we needed to leave, a reserve, for something unforeseen. And I just don't see that need given, the social services network that is already in place with, governmental programs and the like. So I guess what I would say is whatever amount you're comfortable with, I would support. But I would suggest that that go, into the stock fund, knowing that it could go down at some point. But again, we're in this for the long haul. This is an endowment fund, and we need to be thinking about, as I've said, future generations of needy children in town.
Okay. Anybody want to throw out a number? Anyone want to guess? I'll think of a number between
Well-
1 and 100,000.
I'm like the 60/40 would be like that's a number I'll throw out.
Okay.
60% into that Admiral Index Fund, and then 40% staying in the cash fund.
So remind me, when it's in the fund, if we want to use it,
We can always sell,
so there's no
no penalty.
penalty?
No,
or-
but it is, there were, market fluctuation.
Mhm, right.
And are we going to, monitor that?
Yeah, I mean, we should get statements, and I would think that the value should appear in the annual report also. I can work with Charlotte on this, and I do like that 60/40, and that's, back when I was in the business, a balanced portfolio was typically 60% stocks, 40% bonds, and I think we could set this up such that the income goes automatically into, I guess the checking account, the Miller Fund
Okay,
checking
that was
account.
that was my question. What would are we reinvesting, or are we taking
Yeah,
the
I think the purpose is to really have more income available, for camp scholarships and the like. And it can be set up so that, we don't have to do anything. We can just, it can just go every, quarter, I guess it is. Yeah,
So, okay, so we've got a 60/40 on the table.
and it's, I guess it was really, 60%.
To
Yeah,
invest
because the-
60%.
Right, because
Right,
the other
60, right.
40% would stay there.
So do you want to make that as a motion?
Yeah, sure. I will move that we invest. Well, I'll make a motion that we invest 60% of the Miller Fund into that. And you have to help me, Joe.
It's
Vanguard.
Vanguard Index.
Admiral Index Fund.
Vanguard Index 500 Admiral Fund, I believe is the name of it. Yeah.
I'll
Once you
second
make-
that.
Okay.
I'll
Is that-
second
Is that
it.
a fair enough motion? He
Yeah.
helped me get the
Yeah,
words out.
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if
So
Maria's got
60% of the current value of the
What was the
fund.
name?
It's the Vanguard Index 500 Admiral Fund. And what that is, for those, it's the 500 biggest companies in this country. And it's an unmanaged fund, and it's very low cost. Year in and year out, it outperforms, 90% of all, highly paid fund managers.
Okay, so we've got a motion.
It's not your socially responsible.
No,
And
no.
it's got we've got a second, so is there any discussion?
And then I guess, just on discussing, so you will work with Charlotte
I-
to,
to get it set up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And then on this, once it's done, is this motion also are we gonna execute that? Or we're kind of giving Joe is gonna take this now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna come back with a statement of the investment. That's how we understand this.
Yep.
Mhm.
okay. Now, another board at a future date can say, what were those
What were they
guys-
thinking?
What were they thinking? Or another board could say,
Whoa.
what were
They
they,
were
what were
really-
they thinking? Let's put 80% in.
Yeah.
All right, so
We gotta live with
another
the
board
present.
could make a change. But for the time being, this would be the decision of this board.
Mhm.
So, 60% invested, 40% kept as it is. And Joe will work with Charlotte to
Mhm.
set this up.
Mhm.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you, Hugh.
All right, so now do we want to go back to this repurchase agreement?
Yes.
I think it's now moved, and that we're well below the threshold.
Right, so we'd have about 40,000, so that would be covered by FDIC.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And I'll just confirm with Charlotte that that's,
Okay.
so and let her know about that.
Yeah, you piqued my curiosity. The first thing I'm gonna do when I get home is look up, what is the FDIC
Okay,
insurance limit?
well, let us know, let us know.
I'll let you know at the next meeting.
Oh, come on, send us,
I'll shoot you an email if you're
Yeah.
that curious.
yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on to other business. We have on our agenda a budget update. I was thinking no more than just to say that most of the boards and groups and organizations and the fire department have sent in their budget requests for the coming year. And those that have not, what's the phrase? He who hesitates is lost, right? That's how we can have a level-funded budget, is if enough groups don't send in their. And let's see, so I was thinking, here it is the 20th, maybe we could see how Charlotte's doing with her spreadsheets and try to get things organized next week. And for our following meeting, at least have some paperwork that you can
Mm-hmm.
take home, and then we get going, maybe on the 13th, we have our first work session. Does that seem reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you,
Hugh's schedule, how's that?
Yeah, it's really, yeah, December won't be a problem.
that is a minor Swedish holiday, so I don't want to stay too late that night.
And it's actually the county bar meeting on the 6th, the annual
Well, that's where
meeting.
we're going after the Swedish holidays, to the bar. Do you want to come?
Well,
And,
I'd say the 6th, I probably won't be here either, because I'm gonna be coming back from Montpelier.
Oh, yes, you're going to
So-
be,
I don't wanna get that other speeding ticket,
right.
Could we possibly move that one then?
This meeting on the 6th
Right,
to, what would you like?
the 4th or the 5th?
How's that work with everybody?
I think
I
the
think
5th.
the planning commission meets on the 5th.
Right, the first. I think the Energy Committee meets on the 4th.
Can we just meet at either the community center or
Okay,
an alternative location?
that is certainly, if you want to check to see if it's available
Okay.
that evening.
On the 5th? Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
We try to do that? That
Yeah.
way
On the
we-
5th?
Please, yeah.
Actually, the planning commission has a public hearing on the town plan that night.
Oh, on the 5th, well, that's not a
Okay.
good night to
What
do
about
it
the
then.
4th?
Monday?
Um, I don't know yet on the 4th,
So how
Well, you
about,
could-
but either, that's fine.
So
Why don't
you're
you plan the
doing
4th,
it-
because you know I can't be here the 6th anyway, so at least you'll know Joe will be here on the 4th, right?
Yeah,
So we'll meet on the 4th?
Yep.
And then we're gonna meet on the 13th. That'll be our first budget meeting?
yeah,
right. And I can be there, I might be just a little bit late, but I will
Okay.
be there.
And then the 20th is our next regularly scheduled
Yes.
select board meeting.
right.
But we won't, do you wanna meet on the 27th for a budget meeting?
Let's,
Skip that?
maybe let's talk about that on the 20th,
Okay.
see how we're going.
Yeah. And I think somebody said, is it the 4th? Is there something else going on here?
Energy Committee,
Okay. Are you gonna check on the community center then?
I can, sure.
Okay,
On the
Okay.
4th even, yeah.
okay.
let us know.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Okay, ready to move on? Act 69 is a act by the legislature to address
Sick leave.
sick leave and so far the town's pretty good, but there are a few changes.
Right, so there are two changes that we'll make to our personnel policy, and I went over this when we had our meeting today with the town employees. One is that sick leave can be taken in increments of 1 hour our policy says half-day increments, so that'll change. And then there are 5 specific reasons why someone can take sick leave. Doesn't necessarily mean they're sick. It could be a member of their family and they have to take their family to the doctors or whatever. So it gives a wider range of options, and they need to be clearly stated in our personnel policy. So for our next meeting, I will send in advance to everyone the way our policy gets changed, needs to change to reflect compliance with this. And it wants to be done as of January 1st, 2018. So my question is, who will make the change to the personnel policy? How does that happen?
I guess we take our personnel policy and, after a vote, we just edit it and print
I
out
know.
a new copy.
Right, but where does it live and who edits it?
Where does it live?
I mean, it's on a computer
Lives
Yeah,
somewhere.
under
it's on a computer. I bet it's on Lori's computer.
Yes, and so would I ask Lori to make that change, or would I sit down at her computer? Or-
That's a good question. Would be a question you'd ask Lori.
Okay, I will ask Lori.
Well, I mean, aren't we the ones that make the change?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
I
you
think
would
so.
be making a recommendation for an amendment of the personnel policy, I would think.
Yeah,
Right.
and then we'll vote on that, and
Right.
should we,
Right, but then who actually makes the change and prints out a new copy?
Well, I mean, I guess Lori does after we approve it, right?
Well, she always did when she was our select board assistant, but
Right. Well,
I'm a little confused as to where the select board's files live. Just personnel policy is one of them.
mhm.
You know, when Lori was our select board assistant, it was easy.
mhm.
And
Right.
now it's a little, and who
Yeah.
takes care of our personnel files and,
Yeah.
Okay.
that sort of thing. So we just need to kind of think about that a little
Right.
bit
Well,
more.
she should be able to get that to you in electronic form, I would think.
Right, but then does it live
Yeah.
on my computer?
Well, no.
I don't necessarily want the Dummerston Town
No, I
personnel
understand.
policies to live on my computer.
But again, we make the amendment, get it back to Lori, and she implements it.
Yeah, I think that's how she did when we did the ordinance change.
Yeah, she'll do it.
Yes.
Okay,
And
but I'll touch base
If,
with
and if she has an issue where she feels like that's not her
Mhm.
thing to do, then we'll
We'll deal with it.
deal with it.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Let's see, is there any other business you want to address tonight?
Nope.
Okay. Would you,
I'd
like to adjourn?
I move we
Entertain a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Is that what
yes,
you're about to
yeah,
say?
So-
or I could tell you about my trip to,
I would entertain a
So
motion
moved.
to adjourn.
all
I'll
right,
second that.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.